お前ら
かかってこい。
何行くぞ。さあこれで文句はないな。
Well then, about a year and a half after I played the Japanese version of Yakuza 0 on PS3, the English version finally did come out, this time only on PS4. I really liked the Japanese version, and when I did a video listing my favorite Yakuza games in order, I placed 0 at the third spot. But the story is very important in the Yakuza game, so I figured a re-review was in order, now that I can understand it fully. Nothing I said about the story in my previous video was inaccurate really. The game is about Tojo clan infighting over the rights to a piece of land vital to the Kamurocho Revitalization Project, aka the Millennium Tower, and the then powerful Dojima family scrambles its mighty lieutenants to acquire the land by any means necessary. This engulfs both Kiryu and Majima in the process. What I didn't know is that Kazama pulled strings from inside his prison cell, getting the help of his friend and future Tojo clan chairman Masaru Sera and the new character Tetsu Tachibana. I also like how this game portrays Shimano as quite a schemer. I used to think he was more brain than brawn. The story in Yakuza 0 was just as good in English as I thought it would be. It didn't disappoint. And a few details are worth mentioning, like the tone. The Yakuza are portrayed as a lot more serious and intimidating here than previously. Like, remember how Hana beat them up in 4? Here, if Yakuza surround you, bad stuff will happen. I like that certain influences can be seen on Kiryu and Majima, like how I think Kuse's refusal to give up influenced Kiryu, as well as him having the same shoes that Kiryu would later wear. Nishitani, a character that comes and goes pretty quickly, seemed to influence Majima in how crazy he behaved, as well as fighting with a knife. I will say though that while the story is a lot better than that of Yakuza 5, there is still a hint of overcomplicating things here and there. And Kiryu's storyline I think is a missed opportunity in a way. Before the game came out, the developers hinted at this being a different Kiryu, and that you would get to see him doing things that were un-Kiryu-like and so on. But in the end that only happens in the intro, where he mercilessly beats up some guy. Other than that, it's more or less the same Kiryu as always. He makes speeches, he doesn't change his mind once it's made up, and he protects his friends no matter what. I'm also still a little bit upset that they didn't work in a cameo for Date and the Florist. Anyway, the story in Yakuza 0 is in general great, and it keeps the position that I put it at on my list. Obviously the gameplay doesn't need translating, but still, in a year and a half I reflected that overall Majima's fighting styles were more enjoyable to me. And of the two unlockable styles, his was completely new, whereas Kiryu's Dragon of Dojima style was basically the same as in the other games. I said last time that the music wasn't that great, and I have to say I've reconsidered. The boss fights, of which there are many, have pretty damn epic music. But I stand by my opinion that the music for the main styles are pretty average, with my favorite being the Brawler theme. However, when I played Kiryu and Majima's side businesses, when they fight in those, there's a different theme used, and there, especially Kiryu's, was great. I wish they would have used that one as a main style theme. Speaking of the side businesses, I barely touched those in the Japanese version, but this time I completed both of them, which is the reason my playtime reached 74 hours. A record. They were pretty enjoyable, but boy were they time sinks. Especially Kiryu's, where basically what you do is buy a business with the money you have, go back to the office and get money to buy a second business, go out and buy it, wait for the money to come in, buy a third business, rinse and repeat, with a few battles here and there, and minigame challenges in between, in which you lose 10% of your area if you're defeated. Which I was in the Outrun battle for instance, because I am not good at Outrun. Running the Hostess Club with Majima was more fun in my opinion. A million times more fun than what Akiyama got to do in Yakuza 4. You get less money with that than Kiryu does, but then again Majima doesn't need as much money to upgrade his abilities. The sub-stories in Yakuza 0 were good as always, ranging from heartfelt to completely wacky. But a lot of them are super short. They just introduce a friendship in a text conversation, and then when the conversation is over, the sub-story is over. So the number of real sub-stories in Yakuza 0 I would say is much less than the rest of the series. But on the other hand, the side businesses has a lot of talk and some sub-story type things that happen, so I guess it evens out. Weapon crafting is back here, and you can send out agents to look for materials a la Mass Effect or Assassin's Creed maybe. But is there a point really? Weapons are available to buy too, and do you even need them that badly? I mean, one of Majima's styles comes with an unbreakable bat. The extortionists, here dubbed Mr. Shakedown, were really scary at first, but I found that their attacks are pretty limited, so as long as you fight them in a large enough area and keep hitting and running, they're not that much of a threat. And they take a suspicious amount of damage from slime guns and zap guns. Ka-ching! The loading times are very short on PS4, and I like how the game doesn't require you to press circle when loading and saving just to get past the screens that say load complete and so on. So, Yakuza 0, a great game. It keeps the position for me as third best Yakuza game of all time. It's also been great to see that this game has been reviewed by some bigger YouTubers than usual, and in general seems to have brought in a larger audience than is normal for the series. Welcome, new fans! You're just in time to see the series end with Yakuza 6.